that's dope, you know. So, you know, it was good sparring. It was very good experience for me.
You don't have to pick a winner, but just who would you lean toward in that fight? I mean, you would know. Who would you lean toward? Him, the way we focused on him.
The bigger guys training for this, how's that felt?
You said
sparring, yeah, sparring the bigger guys.
Oh, I've always sparred bigger guys.
Yeah.
I never sparred nobody my size, so that's nothing new.
Okay. Because Gennady Golovkin couldn't beat Canelo in 3 fights. He's now decided to help Crawford try to beat him in just 1.
When you reflect on your career and all the victories you've achieved, is there one particular fight for both of you that stands out as the most meaningful and you said, damn, I did that with pride?
I would say for me, you know, the most meaningful fight for me was becoming a world champion. You know, but in the fans' eyes, my biggest moment was against Errol Spence.
For me, I have many, but I think with Triple G is one of my biggest.
Went back to training right after the press conference tour. Just 2 days later, Gennady Golovkin visited him at camp. Beating Canelo Alvarez is tough, only 2 boxers have ever done it. Now, Golovkin wants to help Crawford become the 3rd Golovkin, known for his powerful punches, worked with Crawford to improve his punching strength. He also shared boxing tips and pointed out weaknesses in Canelo's style things you can only notice after fighting him yourself. Crawford has an undefeated record with 41 wins, and he knows how big of a risk this fight is. That's why he's getting advice from fighters who faced Canelo before. A few months ago, he was even seen training with Floyd Mayweather.
Balls in town, you guys gonna get dinner?
I don't think so.
Maybe next time.
Canelo, can you fill in the blank for me? Triple G is blank.
Huh?
Can you fill in the blank? Triple G is blank.
And to Gennady Golovkin for help, even though Canelo Alvarez defeated him twice in their trilogy. Their first fight is still debated, as many believe Golovkin should have won. He landed more punches in 10 out of 12 rounds. Yet the judges scored it a draw. That controversial result led to 2 more fights, where Canelo proved himself by winning both. Despite those losses, Golovkin's experience in the ring with Canelo is now being used to help Crawford prepare for his own shot at beating the Mexican champion. Terence Crawford wants to understand how Gennady Golovkin was able to trouble and dominate Canelo Alvarez enough to earn a controversial draw in their first fight. His friendship with Golovkin actually began when there were rumors about a possible fight between them last year. But the first big lesson Crawford got from Triple G was about Canelo's punching power. In their first fight, Canelo landed a strong right hand in the 9th round, which looked huge, but Golovkin later told DAZN it didn't feel that powerful. He said it was more like a slap or a sliding punch, not something that hurt him much. This kind of feedback might boost Crawford's confidence as he gets ready to face Canelo. In addition to advice, Crawford also had a light sparring session with Golovkin, similar to his earlier session with Floyd Mayweather when talks of a Crawford versus Triple G fight were going around. While some fans were curious about that matchup, many believed it was unlikely to ever happen.
To give details, I know you guys are competitive, but what was that sparring like on, the fight fans want to know? It was dope. It was dope. And I appreciate Drake for even, giving me the opportunity to step in the ring with him. I can say that.
Rumors that Saudi royal Turki, Aloshik, was trying to arrange a mega fight between former welterweight champion Terence Crawford and former middleweight champion Gennady Golovkin. Although Golovkin never officially announced his retirement, he hasn't fought since his second loss to Canelo Alvarez in 2022. He later became head of Kazakhstan's Olympic Committee, which made fans believe he was done with boxing. When the rumors about the Crawford vs. Golovkin fight started spreading, FightHub TV posted about it, asking fans for their thoughts. That post caught Oleszyk's attention, and he quickly responded on X, formerly Twitter, calling the rumor false and saying he had no plans to make that fight happen. Still, the idea of Crawford vs. Triple G sparked a lot of fan reactions. Many Golovkin fans believe he still has knockout power, even if he's slowed down with age. One fan said Triple G might be retired, but he's likely still dangerous. Even though Golovkin hasn't been active.
Perfect boxing punch, Canelo puts up a high guard and parries the jab that Kovalev throws. Now Canelo explodes and pretends he's going for a liver shot that makes Kovalev duck slightly to protect his body, but Canelo goes high and lands the hook right on the ear, messing up Kovalev's equilibrium. And once he drops his hands, Canelo lands a right hand that knocks him out.
In the end, while the Crawford vs. Golovkin fight never happened, Crawford did land a huge matchup with Canelo Alvarez, instead one of the biggest fights in both of their careers. Crawford has already beaten top names like Errol Spence Jr., Sean Porter, and Amir Khan, while Canelo's record includes legends like Floyd Mayweather, Miguel Cotto, Shane Mosley, and Sergey Kovalev. And of course, 3 of Canelo's biggest fights came against Golovkin, with their first meeting in 2017 ending in a controversial draw that many believe Golovkin should have.
Да, потому что я скажу так, наверное, во мне вот эта вот страсть к боксу еще пока не остыла. В данный момент у меня 3 пояса в 160, мне надо решать свои вопросы. Ну, я думаю, даже скажу, может быть, немножко громко, я неплохо себя чувствовал, и если вы видели, как бы я, в принципе, даже не...
Draw. Canelo and Golovkin had a rematch, where Canelo won by a narrow points decision. Then, in 2022, they met for a third time. And this time, Canelo won more clearly on points. It was the most decisive fight of the trilogy. One person who knows what it's like to prepare for a fight against Canelo is Abel Sanchez, the coach, who trained Gennady Golovkin for the first 2 fights against the Mexican superstar in 2017 and 2018. Interview 7. Veteran boxing trainer Abel Sanchez spoke to FightHub TV and shared his honest opinion about several fights, including the potential matchup between Canelo, Alvarez, and Terence Crawford. Sanchez believes this fight isn't a good idea and called it ridiculous, saying Crawford is simply too small for Canelo. He praised Canelo as the current face of boxing and pointed to his strong resume. Sanchez admitted that Crawford's speed might make the fight interesting early on, similar to when Golovkin fought Kell Brook, and Brook's hand speed stood out at first. But as the fight goes on, he believes Canelo would wear Crawford down with power shots. He predicted that the fight would end between the 9th and 12th round, saying that anything Canelo lands will hurt Crawford. Sanchez also mentioned that even though Crawford looked good at 154 pounds in his last fight against Madrimov, jumping to 168 is a big leap and could be too much. No matter how much he trains or gains weight.
Люди заслуживают такие бои, их надо брать.
I believe that boxing fans will win, definitely, and promoters too. Though fights like this need to happen.
Canelo vs. Crawford matchup, a ridiculous fight, saying that while Crawford is a great fighter, He hasn't really changed his style from when he fought at 135 to 147 pounds. According to Sanchez, Crawford hasn't done anything new to prove he can compete at bigger weights unlike Canelo, who has adjusted and continued to dominate. Sanchez pointed out that Crawford hasn't been destroying opponents like Canelo, as saying Crawford only beat one fighter who was past his prime. While the fight might bring in a lot of money, Sanchez doesn't see it as a real, competitive matchup. Meanwhile, boxer Virgil Ortiz also shared his view. He said if Crawford moves back down to 154 pounds after fighting Canelo, he'll likely no longer be undefeated. Speaking to the Ring magazine, Ortiz predicted a clear win for Canelo, saying Crawford is just too small. He added that even though Crawford weighed 180 recently, simply gaining weight isn't the same as naturally belonging.
¿Qué dirías?
Pocos huevos.
Small balls.
Ortiz explained that he might understand Crawford taking a risk against a less dangerous opponent, but this is Canelo, and he's no ordinary fighter. Ortiz emphasized that Canelo has years of experience and top-level skill, predicting a very clear win for him. He pointed out a key concern. Crawford gets hit. While that's normal, in boxing, Ortiz said it's a serious problem against someone like Canelo. If you get hit clean by Canelo, that's not good, he said, noting that Canelo isn't just powerful, he's fast and can catch opponents off guard. Ortiz also mentioned Canelo's recent fight against William Skull, a younger, bigger, and more explosive opponent. Despite that, Canelo controlled the fight easily, slowing the pace and shutting down Skull's offense. That performance, according to Ortiz and others like Coach Davis, shows that Canelo's timing, sharpness, and elite skills are still fully intact.
A ridiculous fight myself. I think that Crawford is too small. Canelo is, in my opinion, the face of boxing right now. I think that look at his resume. I think it's a good fight for a little while. Crawford's hand speed will, just like when Golovkin fought Kell Brook, the hand speed was evident at the beginning of the fight. But as the fight goes on, Canelo's going to start pounding on him, and I think that the fight ends somewhere between the 9th and 12th.